Just testing out this camera. A little bit sharper. Hi guys! So I'm super excited to present to you all. This is my channel. I hope you guys enjoy what I have in store for you guys. I'll be coming to you monthly as a webisode with exclusive interviews as we unfold and talk about how people made it to where they are while keeping God in the center of it. We believe in Royal ID. We believe in building the kingdom and promoting people who are building their kingdom for the ultimate kingdom of Christ. And so we have some special segments. We have some amazing things like my royal picks. I'm gonna come to you with some different Christian hip-hop, some gospel music, contemporary, some songs that I think you all should be listening to, and then we'll dig into those songs as we have the lyrical digest. I'll talk to a few people who I know their stuff. They know their music, they know their artists, but they know the word as well. And hopefully I'll be able to present to you all my royal PSAs as well. So a lot of things that I have in store for you all, and I'm super excited. So for this first interview, I had the honor to sit down and talk one-on-one with Joi Marie McKenzie. She is super cool, you guys. Like, she is super cool. I can't wait to hang out with her again when I'm in New York, but she was in Baltimore and I had a good time and talked to her a little bit about what it's like to be her and more about her book, The Engagement Game. You gotta go and get that book, guys. Why she said I don't to marriage and I do to me. Lord. Super good book. And of course I asked her my royal question. What is your royal identity? So make sure you keep it locked right here. You're watching Royal ID.
I'm Joi Marie McKenzie, the author of The Engagement Game, and you are watching a Royal ID exclusive interview.
A woman who is so much more amazing in person than her resume, and her resume is extremely impressive. Entertainment producer for ABC News, covering television, film, and music for several platforms. I'm talking about none other than Joi Marie McKenzie, creator of the Fab Empire, an award-winning website that covers celebrities, society, and local events in cities across the United States. Joi Marie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here, my hometown, so it feels great.
Yes, Baltimore in the house.
Yes.
So you have a new book. It is called The Engagement Game. Yes. Why I said I don't to marriage and I do to me. I want to get into that book because it really is a page turner. And I was reading, I was like, oh my goodness. But first, I do want to take a few minutes to recognize the work that you do. Yes. As I stated, you're a producer and writer. Did you always know that you wanted to work on this side of entertainment, and how does it feel to be on the other side of the mic?
I hate it. I'll answer that question first. I hate being interviewed because I'm used to being in control of the conversation and like I know what I'm saying, so it's very weird to get used to, but I'm enjoying it so far with you. I always knew that I would be, if I was going to be a journalist, I would be an entertainment journalist because I watched my grandmother, Ida Murphy-Peters. She was an entertainment editor until the very day that she died, and so I watched her growing up, sit at her typewriter, go out to events. She took me to my first concert, the Immature concert, downtown Baltimore.
Okay.
I went with her. You know, she would hand me like CDs of Monica and Chris Brown and all these people, like, oh yeah, just, you know, listen to these and see if you like them. Mm-hmm. So I grew up around entertainment and just being interested in it. So I feel like my stars were sort of set with her, thanks to my grandmother.
Oh, wow. So in a way, your career, you kind of pay homage to her, maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think so. I feel her spirit all the time, and people tell me all the time, like, you know, my grandmother's watching over me. So I feel like I'm living out a lot of what she wanted to do.
That's awesome. Yeah. Now, you've interviewed names from actor TV host Cannon to actress Iyore Shahidi, who's the oldest sister in Blackish.
Yes.
What does it mean to be responsible to have conversations with celebrities and highlight the positive natures of them and their work?
Right, yeah. I always say, you know, because I have to work with publicists and like, please don't ask this. And I always say, I'm not a gotcha reporter. I'm not trying to be salacious. I feel like there's enough of that. And so I try to provide an opportunity for people to be themselves and to share with them. I love to learn from celebrities what makes them who they are and how they got there, how they've become successful. So my series right now on abcnews.com is like Celeb 101. We just talked to 50 Cent earlier this week.
Oh, yes.
And, I'm just asking him, like, how did you get to be 50 Cent? Like people don't really know how they got there. We see the bumper sticker mottos and all that, but like, what was it in your mindset, in your personhood that made you be the successful person? And so that's what I'm most interested in learning from celebrities and trying to get people to see that they are real people. So yeah.
Okay, very good. So, all right, now let's get into the book, The Engagement Game, Why I Said I Don't to Marriage and I Do to Me. So I want to read some of the reviews.
Okay.
Amazing reviews. The columnist of the Washington Post says your book is, quote, freaking hilarious and sometimes cringe-inducing time machine. Black voice editor of the Huffington Post calls it a compelling tale. This journey provides her with an important life lesson on how to remain true to self while seeking marriage. Now, this one was my favorite, from staff editor of People magazine.
Oh, yes.
In an age where looking for love means field mentoring advances made over DM and swiping aimlessly through apps and online profiles. First of all, the description was just amazing.
That's very true. Yes.
So, I mean, you have reviews that speak so much volume to your writing ability and your storytelling ability. Talk to us about that.
They're all very gracious. I'm glad that you read the positive ones. But I honestly can't believe it. When I sent the book out for the first time, that was the first time that I had to even have other people read it, were the critics. So that was very scary. So I was just praying the whole time, like, please let them like it. But yeah, I'm thankful that they liked it. And that they could relate, because a lot of the time I was writing it, I'm like, are people gonna think I'm crazy? And I always say this book is not anti-marriage, it's just anti-marrying the wrong person.
Right.
And so I felt like, they got it.
Yeah. And I think some of the reviews reflected that for some of the ladies who aren't necessarily in their 20s like us, that they could go back and look to when they were in that time frame, whether or not you're a millennial or you're in the new age of social media. It was like, this happened for all of us.
Yes, and I did not know that. I really felt like I was alone, like I was going to be deemed crazy. So it really feels great that this book is out and people like, yes, I've been in that situation. Or I dated a guy for 5 years, or I dated a guy for 7 years and lived with him. So it just feels good that there is a sort of community and, creating a safe space for people to talk about this stuff.
That's one of my favorite quotes. There's nothing new under the sun. You never know. Now let's jump right into the book. In the first paragraph, literally the first couple of lines, like I said, it's promising to be a page turner. You describe what you thought was going to be a proposal to your then boyfriend. Talk us through the anxiety that you went through and that you felt that night.
Right, so I was it was New Year's Eve, that's traditionally a very excited time, and we're at a club, we're at one of our favorite clubs in DC. And he's sitting next to me looking into my eyes and he's like, Joy, you're going to be my wife one day. I mean, wouldn't you think that's
absolutely
a start of a proposal?
Absolutely.
And we'd already talked about it. We'd already talked about rings. We talked about what our kids would look like. We had sort of had all the conversations that I felt. So I was like, oh my gosh, he's proposing. And so I'm looking at his hands, like, okay, are his hands gonna go to his pockets? Like, is he gonna go down on one knee? And then he like stands up. And I'm like, I don't understand.
That's not what's supposed to happen.
No. So then I was like, okay, well, we'll just go home. I just sort of played it off, but I definitely thought I was gonna get proposed to, but I didn't. So that sort of started me down this path of craziness to get the ring, which is what the book is about.
Get the ring.
Yeah.
Get the ring.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in the author's note, you state that the names were changed, obviously, for the privacy of friends and family.
To protect them.
Exactly. You just wanted to lay that out there to our listeners before we dig into the book a bit more. You mentioned that you told your older sister about what happened, about the maybe proposal or the
pseudo proposal.
The pseudo proposal. Yes. Had your family met him at this point?
Oh, yeah.
Or given approval of acceptance?
Yeah, I mean, at this point we were together for 5 years.
Okay.
So we had done everything. We had done the holidays, we had done the barbecues, the christenings, the baby showers, the weddings.
All the important events that they're supposed to be at.
Our lives were blended. I knew his family, and so, we were in it. I thought, to win it, but no, we weren't. So, we had done it. Yeah, I don't need to. I was telling him, I don't need to get to know you anymore. I know you.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to continue dating.
Right. We don't need to figure this out. It's figured out at this point.
Yeah.
Let's just do what's next.
I thought exactly, but that did not happen.
Maybe 20-somethings like us would kill for a career like yours, for the friendships that you have, the amazing apartment that you have, the living, this lifestyle that you have.
Yes.
But you were still ready to check off the marriage or the husband box.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah, I feel like I was 28 when I wrote this book, so I'm 31 now, so I do see a lot differently. But at that time, I felt like, okay, I've done everything that they have told me, I've done everything that they told me to do. I went to college, got good grades, I graduated. I found a job like they tell you to do. I moved to the city where I've always wanted to live. I got a great job. I have great friends, family. And so it's like, you feel like this is the last piece of the puzzle. I have it all together. Why not me? And at the time, I was going through this spiral of, he's telling me, yes, we're gonna get married. So I'm watching Say Yes to the Dress. I'm following, the wedding things on Instagram. I'm all in it, sort of planning my life, not realizing that this was not what God had for me, but either way, so I go to my older sister and I ask her, so what do I do to get proposed to? Like, maybe I'm doing something wrong, because I had never, is there something I need to do besides just existing? And
she was experienced.
Yeah, she was married, she was pregnant at the time. And she says, yeah, well, why don't you play the game, And so she gives me sort of tips to sort of better prepare myself. Now, I should have known it was going to be some mess when she was saying, oh, it's going to be easy. But, there were things that actually made a lot of sense. So, the first thing was make a list of what you want in a husband.
Yeah.
And, sort of ask yourself, what do you see?
I want to pause there. Let our listeners listen. Make that list, ladies.
Yes. Men
too. You really should know what you want.
Yeah, clarify what you want, because at 28 years old, 5 years into a relationship, I never asked myself what I wanted in a partner, which sounds crazy. And so she said, write a list down, and I did. I thought about it, and it was, it wasn't things like, oh, he must drive this sort of car. It was, I need a man with integrity. He has to be God-fearing, a college degree, things like that. So just general things that any respectable man would have. And then she would tell me, keep yourself up. I'm like, okay, I need to do that for my job done. She also suggested to date yourself, which was a concept new to me that I did not want to do. I'm like, no, I don't want to date myself. I'm with myself all the time. I don't need any more time with myself. But she noticed that, there were hobbies and interests and desires that I wasn't fostering because I didn't have a partner to do it with. And so I would be begging him, oh, let's please go biking in Central Park. And she's like, just go by yourself, and why deny yourself that pleasure because you don't have someone to do it with. Yeah. And so I began to date myself. I took myself to this movie that no one wanted to go with me to see, which I write about in the book, which is really funny. And I biked in Central Park. So I did all these things that sort of filled me up and that made me feel better,
Now you're talking my language.
Yeah.
I do that on a regular.
Oh, do you? I'm Joi Marie McKenzie, the author of The Engagement Game, and you are watching a Royal ID exclusive interview.